Mario's early toast is going to be your biggest blessing.
Can you share some of the obstacles you faced in the early stages?
I've been in this industry for 30 years, and I have had a lot of failure. The restaurant business is extremely hard. 2% of all restaurants make it. One of the things that we all agree in the restaurant industry is hard to teach hospitality.
What would you say your strength is?
Good question. I love that question. My answer might throw you off completely. I don't serve food. I tell my staff, I don't want you to focus on the food that we serve. I want you guys to focus on serving love.
What do you do to avoid burnout?
Well, how can you be burned out when you love what you're doing? If you're going to try to do it alone, you ain't going to go very far, man. When people don't fit in, they kind of step away on their own. I don't look for experienced servers. I look for kind and loving people.
As a father, what do you wish to pass on to your children besides, let's say, money or the businesses?
Anything you do, be honorable in life, kids. As your father, represent me following the values, the morals, and the standards that I have given you all my life.
Well, Mario, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You know, when it comes to restaurants, people enjoy going to a restaurant, nice restaurant, and have a good experience. But most people don't understand what goes on behind the scenes to make that experience a great experience. Statistics show that 50% of new restaurants close down within the first 5 years. Why do you think so many restaurants fail?
People have dreams. It's beautiful to dream because that means that you have hope in God and everything that we do. When dreaming about a restaurant, it's not just making a menu, it's not just serving food on the table. There's a lot that goes to it. And people don't understand that until they're already involved and they're deep. The hardest thing about having a restaurant, Paul, is how do we get one person in the door?
One person.
One person. How do you get the first person into the door? Because there's so much competition in this world, right? But in everything is hard. I just think that the restaurant business is extremely hard. Extremely hard. From designing a kitchen, having the right menu, from food costs to labor, to how do you find the right system and the right formula for it to, because the profit margins are very low. So there's a lot that is involved. If you don't have the experience to get involved in the restaurant business, and you want to open a restaurant, I think you're right. 2% of all restaurants make it.
2%.
2%.
Wow.
2%. Yeah.
So, when you look at the restaurants that did not make it, what would you say some of the most common mistakes that people make?
They're undercapitalized, first of all, because most restaurants close within the first or second year. They're undercapitalized. And if you do have a lot of money and you have enough money to support a restaurant, is usually the lack of experience on managing the back of the house, which in the regular language is the kitchen. Front of the house would be the front of the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to have enough experience to know how to handle your food waste, your budgets. There's so much, Paul, that you and I could talk about, but it's just very difficult, very, very difficult.
So would you say that it's true that typically people who start a restaurant, they have some experience working at a restaurant?
Excellent point right now. A lot of people that work in restaurants, they see what's happening in the restaurant that they're working, and they might be working in a very successful restaurant. The first thing that comes to their mind, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say to themselves. I can do this. Never realizing what the person holding the liability of the restaurant is going through. All the codes nowadays in the state of California, all the liabilities that we have. Everybody's looking for easy money, right? So you can get sued in anything. You got to be extremely careful. I'm constantly in my walk-in coolers checking my tags, making sure that my food is made the way it's supposed to be made every day. Because in the breakfast industry, we prepare the evening before, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
So when we open our doors at 6 o'clock in the morning, everything's got to be ready on the line,
And you do that for all your
all the
locations?
restaurants. But I want to make sure that people realize I've been in this industry for 30 years and I have had a lot of failure.
And we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of failure, but I learned, okay, if I'm failing here, I can do this better here. So through all that, you finally develop a system and a formula.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that dream or the idea that you had for Mario's early
Hmm.
toast. Can you share some of the obstacles you faced in the early stages?
Yes. Um, I had zero experience with breakfast, and I came from owning Mexican restaurants with full bars. Um, I have always thought that having a full bar means more money because a lot of people back then were drinking a lot, they were partying a lot. But there came a day when my mom said to me, "Your biggest blessing would be to get out of that industry, the bar industry, Mario." And she almost said, when you realize what your priorities in life are, that's when God's going to start blessing you. And I remember that day I said to my mom, "I don't understand what you're telling me. I've been working hard and honorable all my life." And she goes, "Mario, when you serve God first, your significant other second, your kids third, and your work last, that's when God's going to start blessing your life." And she goes, "And right now you're working and working and working. You're cheating on your family. You're not focusing on God. You're focusing on trying to success, but you're not going to succeed alone." So she said, "Now that you're trying to open this breakfast place, that's going to be your biggest blessing. Mario's Early Toast is going to be your biggest blessing." And I told her, "Mom, breakfast doesn't make you money." And she goes, I didn't say that financially you would be blessed. I said overall you were going to be blessed." And I realized it because I started being surrounded by incredible people, man. So yes, Mario's Early Toast became my biggest blessing. Number one, because I started focusing more on God. Number two, because I realized that the day that God would give me a partner, that I would focus more on that person. And then third, I focus on my kids. Obviously, you and I have the blessings of being able to put our kids at Forest Lake Christian Academy, and that's a blessing for
Yes.
you and I together.
Amen.
The thing that I realized with work, Paul, was this: I had a lot of deficiencies, and that's where we as men we have so much pride that we don't want to accept what are our deficiencies. So instead of me continuing to have pride, I said, you know what? I got to find somebody that's better than me in the office, that has some good organizing skills, and that is a good administrative person that can help me. So that's what I did. I found somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had one of my best employees that I noticed that she cared become my director of operations. And then I had a bookkeeper full time in my office. So I built a little team of 4 people, and we started just becoming successful. We started growing. In the beginning, I didn't make much, and then all of a sudden, it just started growing with God's blessing.
Wow. So when we're talking about the restaurant industry, what would you say your strength is?
Good question. I love that question, and I'm going to say I love that question because my answer might throw you off completely. I don't serve food. I tell my staff, I don't want you to focus on the food that we serve. I want you guys to focus on serving love. I want you guys to focus on caring for people. We don't know the kind of life that these people are having. Some people have better lives than other people. But some people have the opportunity to come out one day a month. So if they can afford to come out and have breakfast one day a month, please be kind, be understanding, give love. And I think that's what makes us different. I am constantly on my workers. If somebody doesn't like our food, I'm okay with that. But please don't leave a restaurant knowing that you're not loved, that you're not cared for.
Wow. That's amazing. So how do you instill that in your team, in the employees?
In our world, we have a ton of professional sports teams. Some of those sports teams are successful, some are not. But you got to have a good leader on the top, and you got to establish a culture. Culture, to me, my description for culture is the daily life of how you want to live your life, the daily life of how you want your team around you to see you, so that they can pick up on who you are. So, being a good leader to me means having a humble approach, your demeanor in which you approach everybody. I keep distance from all my employees. I have a distance, right, from professional basis, but I always show them love. I always show them appreciation. And I told my director of operations, on every shirt that every one of our employees wears when they're walking behind each other, I wanted to say love people, so that they can be reminded what we're here for, because we depend from each other, right? You and I depend from each other
Yes.
in so
Yes.
many ways. But if we don't love each other, man, you know, that's not depending on each other. We have to learn to love each other. And I want to walk in this community knowing that I show nothing but love to everybody. Yeah, so that's how I see it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I keep hearing that the margins in restaurants are very thin. How long does it typically take the restaurant to break even? Let's say a
To
new
make a
restaurant.
profit,
Yeah.
in my case, is taken at a minimum is taken 2 years, but it all depends on what you invest. We tend to open second generation restaurants where I tell my CEO, I go, Amanda, if we can invest $300,000 on this restaurant and give it the early toast concept, we can afford to lose $300,000 if it doesn't make it, which I never think that way. I always think, let's turn those $300,000 into $2.5 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
We, once again, most people think, Mario, you're ambitious. No, they got it wrong. I try to do everything that I'm doing. In reality, it helps me because God blesses me, but I'm doing it for God's kingdom. And why do I say that, Paul? Because I started with 6 employees. I now have 200. So every one of those employees, every decision that I make affects their lives. Every chef that I have started as a dishwasher with me.
Wow.
And now they're very appreciative of what has become of them so far.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I try to choose good leaders that are humble and that their demeanor are going to be an example of how I am in life.
So are you involved in hiring people?
No,
You're not.
no. I'm more involved in the kitchens,
Mm-hmm.
but my staff that hires Amanda and Andrea, which is my director of operations, know exactly. They have known me for years. They know exactly what I want. I don't look for experienced servers. I look for kind and loving people because we can train people to serve. Very important, and I want you to always remember this. You cannot teach hospitality. You cannot teach hospitality.
And why
You
is that?
can't teach that.
Why is that?
I think naturally we're born with kindness. Naturally we're born with this gift of serving, and that's something that you have to be born with. It's hard to teach somebody how to be hospitable. It's hard. I read a lot of books, and one of the things that we all agree in the restaurant industry is hard to teach hospitality. But when you have kindness in you, when you have that already, and when your demeanor is is being kind and loving, right? It's already
Mm-hmm.
in you. You can't teach people that. That's why I tell Amanda and Andrea, when you're interviewing people, interview them a couple of times. Get a sense of the way they're approaching the interview. You'll know when people are fake. You get a feeling. And I want you to hire people that are kind, that are loving, that the demeanor is humble.
And I think when someone comes to a place like your restaurant and you have established that culture and that environment, uh, the people who are not the type that you're looking for, they're going to be revealed pretty quickly, right?
It's pretty, yeah. Our turnover is pretty low, but when I don't see something good, right away I have a meeting and I go, all right, can we discuss this? We give people opportunity. You know, Paul, it happens naturally when people don't fit in, they kind of step away on their own.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's God's working. God will work in their lives somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's God working. God will work in their life at some point. But God loves me too, and He protects my businesses. That's why I pray a lot for the people that work for me. I pray a lot. And I also pray the fact that God gives me the wisdom to be good leaders for them. That's important.
So did you grow up in a Christian family?
I grew up with a mom that was immensely faithful. Immensely faithful. My mom is Mexican, and I was raised by a Hawaiian Japanese stepdad, and he was Buddha. Imagine that, being in the same household with two people of different faiths, right? But here's what they had in common. That was amazing. My parents never fought. They never gave us that show in front of us, that drama. They were always very honorable. And my dad, being Japanese, he really taught me what honor was. He would say to me, if you're going to say something, do what you're going to say. So be careful what comes out of your mouth. Do what you say you're going to do. He taught me so much. And this is the first time where I lost somebody in my life that was just painful, losing him. Because of how many lessons he taught me. It was painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. So right now you have 5 locations?
We have 5 locations. We have Dorado Hills. We have Folsom. We have Roseville. We have Granite Bay and Rocklin.
So 5, and then there's one.
And then we're building the one in Auburn here on Highway 49 on your way to Grass Valley, right by Comby Road.
Yep.
Where the holiday market is. And we will be done with that location by the end of January.
By the end of January.
We're building that from scratch. So it's going to be, yeah.
Looking forward to it. So are you building this business? You building it to sell, or are you going to pass it on to your
I have
kids?
never built this business for it to say I want 10 locations, I want 50. I have never said that. I almost go with the opportunities that God opens for me, because slowly it's been happening like that, where people call me and say, hey, Mario, a lot of landlords call me. We have this restaurant that closed down. They didn't make it. Can you come and look at it? See what your thoughts are? And if it works for you, we would love to have you. So second generation restaurants like that. But it's been happening like that. The reason I'm opening up from scratch over here in Auburn, because you obviously have a lot of experience with your real estate business. There's not much over here. There's not many restaurants in this area.
No, they're not.
And so I had to go from scratch. And that's what I'm trying to do.
And that's a pretty big investment.
Yeah. We're putting about $1.2 million into it, yeah.
Wow. I was going to ask, like, if someone is going to open a restaurant, something similar to Mario's Early Toast.
Yeah.
How much approximately cash does it take to open something like that? Let's say they're not building it from
that's a
scratch.
good question. So here it is. If you're opening a restaurant, after you're done with whatever decorations you're going to need or whatever you're going to need in your kitchen, you need to have $100,000 in your bank. And you want to hope that those $100,000 is sufficient to keep you alive, so that you can start building some type of cash flow. Now, I'm talking from an established company already, right? I think people know our product. People know who we are, so they're more trustworthy of coming into our establishments. When you're new and you're, beginning, you have to be very careful because those $100,000 might not be nothing.
So when you say you have to be very careful, what exactly are you implying?
Well, you're training employees in your concept. The amount of people that are going to come into your restaurants might not be sufficient for you to pay your rent on a monthly basis, to pay your overhead, right? Your payroll, which is the hours worked in your kitchen, the hours worked in the front of the house. You have rent, you have PG&E, you have utilities, water, whatever, all of that.
Yeah.
Insurances. Oh my God, goes on and on and on and on, right?
Yes.
Permits,
Yes.
licenses, all that. So you have to make sure that you're covered with that. That's the hard part. Once you establish a cash flow, once you establish yourself in a community and you know that your restaurants are producing $250,000 a month, you got it made. Because people keep coming back, right? So okay, I have customers that go to my restaurants once a week. I have customers that go to my restaurants 4 times a week.
Wow.
Right? So you start depending from them.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the end of the month, each location has a cash flow.
So when you're looking to open a new location, I know you said that sometimes the opportunity comes to you, but what do you consider? What are the priorities for deciding, yes, we'll go?
My priorities are always the kitchen, the hood. So the first thing I walk into a restaurant, look how beautiful it is, Mario. They tell me how beautiful something is. I ignore it. The first thing I do is I walk into the kitchen.
And what are you trying to see?
If my hood is 14 to 16 feet wide, I'm good. Then I can look at everything else because the rest is cosmetic. But replacing a hood and remodeling a kitchen is expensive.
So when you're talking about the hood, you're not talking about like the hood where you live. You're talking about
I'm talking about the hood in the kitchen,
the hood, the ventilation,
the ventilation, and all that. If that hood is wide enough, if that hood is what we need to put all our equipment under it, I get excited. That's why my priority is let me go look at the kitchen.
But what about like not the building part, but I'm talking about like specific geographical location.
You're talking about demographics.
Demographics and geography.
Okay, this is very simple. A lot of people do their homework for me. I'll give you an example. You have a Starbucks, a worldwide company now in this time. They do really good demographics, right?
Yeah.
They figure out, okay, how much traffic is going to go through my drive-through, and what are my clientele that is going to sit down. They do a lot of studies for that. So if you realize it, my restaurants are usually, close to a Starbucks, close to a major chain, because I kind of analyze the studies. However, we always have to establish and I got to be careful how I say this. There's low income, middle income, and higher income, right?
Yes.
So you have to realize, if I put myself in a city like Orangevale, can Orangevale support an early toast? Is my concept good enough for Orangevale? And is Orangevale good enough for my concept? As I don't want it to sound and I'm saying this with humility, okay? I'm not.
Of sure. I we understand.
There's cities like Folsom where families can afford to go out, and they go out once or twice, 3 times a month. There's Dorado Hills. There's Rocklin, Roseville area. There are areas where we're very careful where we put an early toast.
Sure, sure. And that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
because when we were opening one of our businesses, there was a requirement for the average household income.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
wouldn't let us open a business in certain areas where
Yes.
the income was low because it's you're kind of you have to protect the business, right? So you want the business to do well. So
You know who's good at that, Paul? Costco.
oh yeah.
Costco. I was analyzing. I'll give you a great example. Costco on Sierra College, and then you have a Costco on Stanford Ranch. They're within 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If you really think about it. Costco on Stanford Ranch over by the Roseville side,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a Costco right here in the Loomis, Rocklin area.
Yes.
Right? They're within 15 minutes. They're both packed.
Yes.
So it's like, man, these people do their studies pretty good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I mean. Can the location of a business be supported by the population of it?
Yes. Yeah. And that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Mario, you are an immigrant, just
Yes.
like I am. If you were still living in Mexico, how different would it be to do there what you're doing here?
Number one, a parrot is green here, in Russia, in Mexico, anywhere, because you got to figure out life, right? So he's green everywhere. However, from the little experience that I have in Mexico, I only lived in Mexico till I was, I think, 7 years old.
Okay.
So it would be really unfair for me to say how successful I would be there. I don't know the system in Mexico. I know the culture somewhat, but I grew up in this culture.
Mm-hmm.
The United States for me is the country that opened doors for me. I remember being 9 years old, Paul, and I found a YMCA. In Chicago, the YMCA, you can do art and all that in those communities.
Mm-hmm.
You would bring $1 back then, and they give you this big piece of plywood, and they would let you use all their equipment to make art or whatever. So I discovered back then that I started making little piggies, little shaped piggies with the plywood,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went into a Walgreens and I bought hooks. So I would put 5 hooks on each piggy. And then I started knocking on doors. And I sold my piggies. Right? So I would sell my piggy for $1.50 or whatever back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I would bring my sister with me. And my sister, well, what are you doing? I'm going to sell the piggies. Out of this plywood, I get 6 piggies. And I only paid $1 for the plywood. Right? So I started making money. But in Chicago, the winters were awful.
Mm-hmm.
So just getting to people's doors, it was full of snow. So I said to my sister, hey, Martha, I got an idea. Let's buy a shovel. And in everybody's driveway, when we're walking out their walk paths, we clear the walk path. But how are they going to know that don't worry about it. We're going to do it for free. So we would knock on people's door. They open. You know, sometimes we got unlucky and they wouldn't open. But, man, we're selling little piggies. You interested? And they would see their walk paths completely clean. So my piggy was $1.50. Next thing you know, they're giving you $4. Right?
Yeah.
And my sister would be looking at me like, so what am I saying? For some reason, this country's been known as the country of opportunity because the world has come here. Not just Mexicans. We have Germans, immigrants rush. It's from all over the world. That's what makes this country so unbelievably great.
Mm-hmm.
And with those people come humility. They have had struggles to get here.
Yes.
They have overcome obstacles to get here. So they understand. I understand their struggles and they understand mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes this country so incredibly blessed. You and I happen to be in, I'm going to say, a county, Placer County.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, we feel God in the air in this county. Everybody's generous. Everybody is giving. So when you wonder why you're being blessed every day, is because people are generous here. I belong to a church named Bayside. There's also another church, Destiny. And if you wonder why those churches are doing amazing or why God is blessing them, is because we live in a very generous town.
I have to agree. Placer
And
County.
Placer County has
Yeah.
been, and they protect you here too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The way they even deal with crime,
Everything.
drunk driving. Yeah.
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 So I feel safe in this county.
Mm-hmm.
We have amazing people in leadership. Rocklin has a chief of police, Rusting Banks. He's amazing. And when I sit down and have breakfast with him
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about how he does things in Rocklin, he's amazing. We have William Jessup University,
Mm-hmm.
Pastor John Jackson, the president. His leadership's incredible, man. So, I mean, we're surrounded by incredible people.
Yeah.
Pastor Ray Johnson, Pastor Farrington.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might not agree with everything that Pastor Farrington does, but this man has so much wisdom.
Yeah.
And what I love about him is that he believes in something and he goes for it.
And he has courage.
So courage.
Yeah. He
Yes,
has
courage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're surrounded by amazing leaders in this county right now. I couldn't be prouder, man.
I wish it could just kind of start spreading around
Yeah,
into other counties in California.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're very fortunate, you and I, and it's almost a blessing
It is.
that our
Yes.
kids are growing in this type of
Yes.
of culture.
I agree with you. So going back to the to Mario's early
Yeah.
toast, what gave you the confidence that that your restaurant idea would become a success?
Good question. We got hit by COVID in 2020, right?
Yes.
Was it 2020?
That was 2020. Yeah.
There was 10 major groups interested in my Roseville location, where it's now Mario's Early Toast, on Douglas and Rocky Ridge.
Yes.
The governor of California, Newsom, said we're closing all restaurants. We need to close all the restaurants and a lot of public establishments. And I got a call I had made a bid. I was one of those 10 people that made a bid, but I was the little guy. So in the end, they called me, Mario, you still interested? We're going to give you 7 months free rent, and we're going to give you some tenant improvement money if you come in our location. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm all you got. That's really how it happened. Here it is, Paul. God creates a storm. Listen to who created the storm, God. And a lot of people that don't know God forget that God loves us. This is going to be good for you. Forget that God loves us. So why would God create a storm to hurt us? He's supposed to protect us, and that's what he does. You know, we have good and evil here in this world. But I'm God's son. And I say to him, Father, for some reason I feel you're calling me to do this. For some reason you're asking me to walk on water. Now, I can't walk on water alone. But if Jesus is holding your hand, you're walking on water, you shouldn't be afraid of anything you do. So to answer your question, when I do something, I always do it in faith.
Mm.
I don't pay attention to what people are going to say. I don't pay attention to people. Mario, you're going to fail there. You're going to fail. That's not how I function. I go for it. And I have always told my mom, I rather fail trying than fail sitting on my ass. So, but every decision that I make, I'm not gonna lie to you. Every decision that I make, I always put God with me, and I say, Father, if it's meant to me, you told me that if I open in the middle of the desert, you would be there and people would come. Well, this is easier. This is right here in Pleasant County. I know it's during COVID, but you got this. That's how I function.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I've been called crazy before, but I'm not in this world's economy, Paul. I have always said I'm in God's economy.
Mm,
I don't pay attention to this world's economy too much. I focus on the people that are coming into my restaurants, and that's because God is the one that's guiding them there. That's how I see it.
wow, that's amazing. Um, so Mario, most people who know you, they would probably say that you got it figured out in life. Would you agree with that, or is there something that you're still struggling with?
Oh my gosh. I, I hear that a lot that, oh, Mario, you're so successful. Mario, you're so successful. No, I'm not. I'm not. Success, and I'm sure you heard this before, success is a journey. So when God calls my name and he's ready to take me, um, I will feel successful when I see my kids being successful in the way they are with others, being honorable, being good to other people. Then I done my job. I would like to say I'll be successful when and I'm going to mention my friend Taro's name on this because Taro and I think very much alike. Success to us is doing good for others, uh, serving others, and leaving that legacy. That's what success should be about. Yeah, God is blessing our restaurants, and God is blessing the people working for our restaurants. And yes, with that comes rewards for us. But to me, success is it's a long journey, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're always learning and learning and learning. My biggest fear, and I know I shouldn't fear because it almost I'm almost offending my Father in heaven. But I tell him, if you're gonna challenge me at any point to know what you mean to me, give me the wisdom and the strength to handle it. Give me the wisdom and the strength to handle whatever challenge comes along.
Yeah. You know, for many entrepreneurs and business owners, burnout is real. What do you do to avoid burnout?
Well, how can you be burned out when you love what you're doing?
So you would say you absolutely love
Oh
what
my
you're doing.
gosh, I love waking up and going to my restaurants in the morning and just saying hi to people and then saying hi to me and them bringing their kids. Oh my gosh, there's no better feeling in this world than being blessed with that gift that you love to get up and go to your place of work and just hug people and say thank you. I'm excited about that. I'm going to ask you the same thing, Paul. You must love what you do.
I do love what
You're motivated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you like being on a beach once in a while or going on vacation. But honestly, every day that I wake up, I'm like excited. And I also love challenges. I love the challenges of life. But there's a movie that I highly recommend to the people that might watch this podcast with you and I called The Shack.
The Shack?
The Shack. The movie's called The Shack.
Mm-hmm.
There's a scene where he's running on water, holding onto Jesus' hand, and he comes back the following day, and he tries to do the same thing alone. So I got a clear message there. Life's always easier when you're holding onto Jesus' hand. If you're going to try to do it alone, you ain't going to go very far, man.
Yeah.
I tell my kids this all the time. And I try to tell this to other people that are not doing so hot in their businesses. And I go, hey, do me a favor. Start a little relationship with God. Don't go gun ho, but just say hi to Him. I tell him, say hi to Him.
Take one step. Yeah.
Take one little step. I'm not here to debate God. That's His job. God always performs. He doesn't need help on that. But if I can guide somebody to say hi to God, and then God takes care of the rest, and then you'll notice that they start doing better and better and better and better. It's up to them.
Yeah.
But life's always easier with God.
I agree. As a man of faith,
Yeah.
I agree with you. What do you think these people who are burning out, what are they doing wrong?
Well, the number one thing is when you have God in your life, you feel peace. You have a lot of peace, man. You're walking, you're following His rules. My mother said, God's rules are here on earth are the same in heaven. And I'm thinking, okay, so if you're obedient, you have peace. And there's nothing like having peace in this world, right? You don't get burned out. People get burned out when they're paying all these bills and they don't have enough to pay for their bills. When they're putting all this work into something and it's not succeeding and you get demotivated. The suicide rate in this country is huge. I don't know if you noticed that. It's big. Because a lot of people either succeed and they take big drops and then they don't know how to get up again, and because they can't handle being poor,
Mm-hmm.
right? After being so powerful. Or some people just work and work and work and they don't realize, well, I'm not going anywhere. Well, you're not going anywhere because your priorities are not right. You're not going because your priorities are not correct. We cannot walk on water without Jesus holding our hand. I hope that makes sense
Oh
in
yeah,
life.
yeah, absolutely. So you did mention what success means to you with your children. As a father, what do you wish to pass on to your children besides, let's say, money or the businesses?
I tell this every day to Mateo and Gabriel. I go, guys, Mateo, number one, don't take anything for granted. Be appreciative of your surroundings. Be appreciative of the people in your life. And always be honorable, son. A lot of parents worry about what grades their kids are getting in school, and that's understandable, okay, Paul? I totally understand that. I'm a little different because I tell Gabriel Mateo, hey, if you're not great in school, have good character and be honorable in life. Anything you do, be honorable in life, kids. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, right? And I tell them all the time, remember, I'm your father. Please represent me as your father. Represent me following the values, the morals, and the standards that I have given you all my life. The only thing where I'm probably ashamed of myself is I haven't had emotional stability. I wasn't able to keep my marriage. I wasn't able to give my kids that example of what a man should do to keep that marriage. Uh, and that's what I pray a lot, that God gives me that before I go, that He helps me have that emotional
Mhm.
stability. But for my kids, I want them to have honor, good character, good morals, principles, for them to always be good to people and humble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know that this is something I hear quite often from entrepreneurs and business owners that it's hard to find time to be present with your children. Are you finding time to be with your sons?
You asked me early why I was so successful. I made a promise to God. I said, if you help me be successful in the mornings, I promise you I will never ever work in the evenings. and my evenings will be for my kids. I will be at their soccer games. I will be at their events. I will be at home having dinner with them. So that's a promise that I made to God. Now, here's the hard part. God is blessing me immensely in the mornings, right? And everybody tells me, open in the evenings, Mario, open in the evenings. That's called ambition, bad ambition.
Mm.
Because if God is blessing me in the evenings, in the mornings, as He promised me, why would I ruin that? When He's doing it so that I can have time with my kids and whoever's going to be my partner for life, which is my fiance at this point, so that I can dedicate time for her. Now, remember in the beginning of this podcast, we talked about put God first, your significant other second, your kids third, and your work last. When I'm in my office, if my CEO has an emergency with her kids, go take care of your kids. The desk will be right here. The problems will be right here. We'll solve them later. Yeah.
Wow.
That's how it is.
Yeah. So, Mario, this is the question that I wanted to ask you, especially for the people, some of the audience that watch this podcast, people who are starting a business or thinking about starting a business. Talk a little bit about the point where you're still not sure, you're doing something, you're trying to figure it out, and it's very, very challenging to find that belief or that energy, that motivation to keep going. Can you maybe talk a little bit about some of these experiences that maybe you had?
That's a very easy question to answer. Paul, when God gave you a vision, when God gave Paul a specific vision, He chose you for that vision. He didn't choose everybody. He chose you. You have to remember that. He didn't give whatever vision you had for everybody. The problem happens is when Paul realized, okay, this is the vision that I have, then you go sharing it with other people, and we live in a very negative society.
Okay.
So people will start saying, Paul, you're crazy. You're not going to make that happen. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. It could be your mom maybe telling you, Paul, this is going to be too hard.
It's very often the close people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're going to go share this with your wife, and you're going to go share that with everybody. And that's okay. It's normal. But what I'm saying to our society out there is this. God gives us a vision. Trust on it. Don't doubt it. The moment you start doubting that vision that you have, that idea that you have, whether it's for a business or whatever you're going to open, decide to, open up your own real estate broker office or your own building or whatever you decide to do, is God's giving you that vision. He's not sharing it with everybody else. You share it with God and you say, thank you, Father. Make this a little bit more clear for me. He's giving you that vision. But when we start doubting that, then things go wrong.
What if people say, I haven't received any vision?
And you got to pray for it.
What if those people who are not believers?
I don't know how to function without God. So I'm not sure if I'm qualified to answer that question. I do not know how to function without my God. Before we end this, I want you to know that my dream was to be a professional athlete. I was small. I was short. I got cut from my soccer team in freshman in high school because my coach said I was too short to be a goalkeeper. When I was 13 years old, we were during the Thanksgiving dinner. We had a tradition of asking, hey, what are you planning to do with your life? Mario, what's your dream? I said, I'm going to be a professional athlete. What's your plan B? I'm going to be a professional athlete. And I was 23 years old in front of 9,000 fans here at Arco Arena when my mom saw me play soccer for the first time. And I remember them saying, Mario, 1 out of 3 million kids make it. I never doubted it. I always prayed for God to help me. I remember instead of me going partying with my friends on Friday nights in high school, my mom had a Bible group. And I would tell them, hey, guys, At 7:30, I'm not going to be here. I'll come back later. But I would go and wait for my turn so I could pray in the Bible group, so they could put their hands on my head
Wow.
and pray for me, so I would become a professional athlete, which I was almost giving up at one point. 1 out of 3 million kids become professional athletes. I wouldn't have done it alone. I played college soccer. I became a professional athlete, and I stopped playing on my own. I never got caught. I just simply said to my coach, "Hey, coach, I don't want to travel anymore. I don't want to be up and down. God has a different path for me." And the day that I made that decision, I remember it was weird. It was like I had God in front of me. And I said, "Thank you for all my dreams coming true, Father. Thank you for everything you've done for me and for all my prayers being answered. But it's a different type now from time for me." And I remember I opened up the restaurant in Palo Alto.
Hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is, if we learn to trust God and we learn to trust the vision that He's given us, we're going to succeed. But if we doubt it, if there's a moment where you start having doubts, you're going to fail.
So you're saying you don't have moments where you doubt?
Oh my gosh. To be clear, Paul, I told you earlier that we have good and evil in this world, right? A man like you, with as much faith as you have, how many times has Satan tried to make you stop believing that there's a God? What I'm saying, Satan's going to attack you left and right so that you don't have faith in God. So Satan's constantly going to attack us, and take it as a compliment. The reason he attacks us, people like you and I, Paul, is because we're in God's army. We praise Him. We talk about how powerful He is. We share the word with others. Therefore, Satan's always going to try to make us doubt. The only thing I do, with talking about the Auburn restaurant, I didn't think I was going to open the restaurant. Yesterday, the owner of the property came and goes, "Hey, why is that bucket in the middle of the property there?" There was a paint bucket in the middle
Mm-hmm.
of the empty property.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "That's my chair." "What do you mean your chair?" "Yeah, I come here and I sit on it and I would pray through this whole process." And I think the best thing that I could have said was, "Father, I surrender this project for you. You make the decision if it's meant for me or not."
Mm.
So ended up being that He gave it to me. I think it's because we're humble and he loves to show off. Does that make sense for you?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I don't have a humble God, man.
No.
He's not humble. He asks us to be humble, but He's not humble. The more powerful the miracle, the more He smiles and goes, "Yeah, I can do this." That's how I see it,
Yeah,
Paul.
yeah. So Mario, as we wrap this up,
Yeah.
this is like the final question. If you were to go back and start it all over, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? Well, I think I became who I am because of all the life experiences that I had. I often look at myself as a sculpture. You start off with this ceramic square, and when you're first born, God starts to do this to you, chipping away, chipping away, chipping away. Then He starts to sand over here, sand over there. And at 55 years of age, He's almost done with that sculpture. I didn't say He's finished, but He's almost done. But He starts to perfect you, perfect you, perfect you. And every life experience that we have had, it's part of that chipping away. We start learning and learning and learning. And I think that's why I am where I am, because of my failures, because of my moments. Along the ways, God gave me a lot of beautiful moments, also a lot of great memories. But the ones that I remember the most are why did I fail here? Why did I fail there? And now I smile at him sometimes when I'm driving. I get it. I just got it.
Mm.
Before we end, the other day I got mad at my German Shepherd. I got mad at him because he ate a brand new chair that I bought. And I was like, oh, Kai, that's not cool, man. And I remember chasing him. This sounds mean, but I was chasing him mad with a broom. As I'm chasing him around the house, I was mad. You know, and we have a great relationship, Kai and I, okay? But I was out chasing him around the house. Suddenly I remember something. Paul, this is going to, like, rock your world. I remember God took me back when I was 6 years old. And I was asking my mom for a German Shepherd. And my mom said, pray on it, Mario. Pray on it. Maybe God will give you a German Shepherd someday. What I'm trying to tell you is God's timing. He didn't give me my German Shepherd until I could give that German Shepherd a place to run around the house or the backyard, until I could support the German Shepherd on my own.
Mm.
So he waited a long, long time to give me my German Shepherd. And he's part of our family. Right? Now I have two. But that's God's timing. If you're an unbeliever, I want for those non-believers to remember this. Number one, they can ask themselves, is there really a God? You can talk to God. You can ask him, if you're really there, give me a sign. Show me something. And this is what I'm going to tell them. There's so many people out there that are not healthy. I have a friend, shouldn't say a friend, but an acquaintance, almost a friend, Nick, Australian guy, has no arms, no legs, and he's always smiling. Always smiling. But the people that I don't believe is they have health. They have kids that are healthy. They have a clear path ahead of them. The reason they're not going anywhere is because they're walking alone, man. They're walking alone. And as much as you try to walk, as much as you try to do in life, many people ask me, Mario, why am I not going anywhere? I have friends that jump from one girl to another, to another, to another. I go, hey, it doesn't matter how much you try to fulfill your heart. You're never going to do it, man, if you don't live with the Spirit. There's flesh and spirit.
Yeah.
If you live by the Spirit, and you let God in your spirit, and you let God into your heart, dude, you're going to be fulfilled. That's what I can say.
I agree with that. When you were talking about chipping away, some people at 55, they still haven't allowed themselves to be chipped away at. And at times it's painful. It hurts. But it's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure, Paul, that with your success, I don't know what you're at in your life right now, because I'm sure that God is going to give you abundantly. I mean, God gives us abundantly. Trust me. But the biggest thing we have to realize is he never said there wasn't going to be obstacles on our journey. And that's why I mentioned that about chipping away. He's sculpting us, and he allows those obstacles to be in our way so that we can continue to learn. And once we're ready, he starts to reward us with even more and more and more, but we're humble enough to receive it now.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yes.
We're humble enough to receive it.
Yeah. Mario, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
No, thank you, guys. And for having me, I wish you guys nothing but the best. And I'll make sure that people know who Paul is. All right?
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you've made it this far and want to support what we're doing, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are committed to making each episode better than the last. If you like this video, here's another one for you to watch. I'll see you in the next one.